I feel like this is about to be an interesting episode. But anyway, hey guys, welcome or welcome back to Overthinking and Underperforming. Hope everybody's doing great. As always, if you're new here, my name is Gabriella, and if you're old, welcome back to episode 5, I believe. And today we're just going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about failed relationships, why they don't work. Today I'm coming with a lot of tough love because I just think sometimes we're just oblivious to certain things, if I'm being completely honest. I know I've definitely been oblivious to a lot of things. But anyway, when it comes to relationships, I know we've all been in situations where, the person that we're with has done us dirty and like they cheated on us, or like they're just lying to us, or they're just not the type of person that we would want to be associated with, or our friends are just doing a bit of like sus things, and like this environment and this like mini society that we're in is just a very questionable and like very counterproductive and very just like it just doesn't make sense. And this could apply, by the way, to like any form of situation, as I said, like a friendship, like relationships. But I just think, and this is a huge philosophy that I carry, because I think when you find that a lot of things are just going wrong in your life, things that you cannot control, and people keep coming to you and maybe saying something, or people keep acting a certain way towards you, I genuinely do think that there is a role that you play in that. And I think a lot of the times it's very easy to just look at it as this is the environment. It's the environment, like it's these circumstances that I just keep happening, keep finding me. I'm not even finding them, they're finding me. And like, I just don't understand when there is actually a role that you're playing in your own suffering. But anyway, when it comes to relationships, I just think that there's certain patterns that all of us show when it comes to choosing people, or when it comes to the people that we're attracted to. And I think when it comes to type, I think we just need to release this thing of types for a second. We just need to put it to the side. Put it to the side for a second until you actually figure out what it is that you want. Because when it comes to types, I think, for example, for me, let's say I have a type. I have a type of guy, and I've always like been the pet type of person to be like, yeah, I have a type. Even like maybe the guys that I've liked or been with, or situations with, whatever, like you can kind of see that there's some similarities here. And then we do the thing where they do us dirty, and then we go and sit down with our friends and we complain. We're like, all these men, all these boys, they're children, they're acting this way, they're acting that way. And then you go back to another guy who's your type. Then you repeat the cycle, and then you go back to your friends and tell them, oh, they did this and they did this, like this person. And then you go back to the same person who's like your type. And you don't realize that you are literally falling for this trap of literally just visiting the same guy again in different forms. And you're failing to realize that nothing is going to change. And all these things that you say that you want for yourself are never going to come, because you're in this pattern of just going for basically the same guy every single time. You can apply this to women. Guys will go and complain what this girl, like what she did to me, like this, so, like, I'm broken hearted, I can never love again. Then you get back to that place where you can love again. Then you go for the same person. You go for the same person in a different body. And then you ask yourself, you sit down and you wonder, what is wrong with the world? Like, why? What is wrong with people? Like, you really just sit down and blame the world. I think sometimes we don't realize that we are looking for the same thing over and over and over again. And it's funny because I think a lot of us like to sit down, and everyone's guilty of this. We like to sit down and romanticize what our perfect person is, right? We like to sit down and be like, okay, my guy has to have this, and he has to do this, and he has to be this type of person, and he has to have this type of job and this type of career, and da da da. And then the guys will do the same thing. She has to look this type of way. She has to, have this type of personality. She can't do this. She can da 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 da. Like, we all create this perfect picture of what someone should be, but I feel like a lot of the times we don't actually create an actual intent of what we want out of a relationship that should be the root reason of why you want your partner or someone that you'd be interested in to be like. It's all just like we have this general idea of who we want our person to be, but a lot of people fail to sit down and be like, what do I want in a relationship? What values, what practices, what type of communication, what type of feeling, like what do I genuinely want out of a relationship? and then go back to your type, right? And be honest with yourself and ask yourself, is this what I actually want for myself? Is this what I've been saying embodies, that perfect person for me? I think a lot of the times we're not even attracting what we want. We're just attracting what we know how to get. We go back to, that pattern of falling for like the same person in different bodies, basically. And when you get into a pattern of like attracting the same people, it becomes easier for you to naturally attract the same version of a person, like the same type of a person in a different body. Like that's just now easier for you to do. So that's what you go for versus going for what you actually want, which a lot of the times actually looks different to what you've been going for. And it's just so easy once again to get caught up in this cycle and caught up of this pattern of what you've been used to receiving and being used to looking for and to attracting, and you're just in this endless loop of doing the same thing over again and having the same problems over again and having the same false hope over and over and over again. I feel like it's weird because I think a lot of the times when we do it, I don't think it's us just being ignorant, but the world kind of teaches us what is good about ourselves. Like, you have that friend, maybe they're very smart. Like, their thing is being smart. So they know that people like the fact that they're smart. So they lead with that. Or you'll have that friend who they're really good at sports and everyone knows they're good at sports and like they understand that's what I'm good at. That's something that I should be proud of. So that's something I should lead with. But you're not trying to look for another sports fan to watch sports with you or to come to your games. So you're looking for someone who you want a genuine connection with. And I think when it comes to that, when it comes to presenting this front of like the most perfect version of you, I think sometimes we miss out on what a relationship actually is. If we look at what a relationship is, it is a connection between two people that is mostly internal. Like, your even chemistry, when it comes to the chemistry and I don't know, just like your emotional connection and everything, it's all internal. That connection is something that is so natural and you cannot trick that connection into coming into place. If you do, it's not really attraction or it's not really a connection. It's just lust that will end at some point. But a connection is something that is true to like two souls actually seeing each other for who they are and what they are, going there and presenting your best self. I'm not saying go there and be messy and like, meet someone for the first time, go on a first date and just tell them everything wrong with you. But all I'm saying is that you do not have to constantly feel like you have to be presenting your best front and like putting up, what everyone tells you you're good at, like just throwing all the things that you're good at. No one, like, that's not going to help you and that's not going to help you build a connection with a person. Like, you have to be able to explore all these different like sides to you and all these different sides to them, and that's what's going to establish an actual connection. Or it's what's going to establish the fact that this is not the type of person for you, therefore you're one step closer to actually figuring out what the type of person you want or who the type of person you want is, or one step closer to actually being with that person. But going back to the whole like, crappy situations happen and like, you're just so confused as to why you're in these situations. And we'll sit there with our friends. And by the way, we need to stop doing this to our friends, like gassing them up about like, a man that they're not even putting themselves in the position to meet, a woman that they're not even putting themselves in a position to meet. We've all done it, right? As I said before, we sit there, we list all the great things that we want about the person that we want to be with, and we start telling each other what we deserve. Like, I'll sit down with a friend, and I've heard this before actually. I had a situation where like I was just talking to their friend and they're like, Gabby, I want this type of man for you. I want a man who's super rich. I want a man who's da da da. And they listed all these things. And I was like, that's so great. It's so great that you want me to be with that type of person. But I think sometimes we do this blind, like we do these things with our friends where we create this perfect person for them and we tell our friends these are the only type of men that you should be going for. Like, this is the person that you should be with in the end, because again, that's what you deserve. But do we ever stop for a second and think that this person that we deserve, if they met us right now, would they even want us? here's what I'm trying to say. Basically, we create this idea of this perfect person that we deserve, but we don't realize that there is some kind of walk and some kind of sacrifice and some kind of growth that we have to do in order to get to a place where we are actually able to match this idea of the person that we deserve. Let's be completely honest. Every time you have that conversation with your friend about who your friend deserves, I think we create this very high standard, which is not wrong. Create that high standard, that's great, that's not the problem. But we fail to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, okay, are we reaching this standard? If I met that man today, would they look at me and be like, this is exactly what I'm looking for, because she understands what it means to be up here and to do all this work and to be self-disciplined and to, have good communication skills and to truly understand someone and try to love someone the right way and like have these conversations? Will that type of man look at you and be like, you're exactly what I want? There's sometimes I think that we just get so carried away in like being like, this is what we deserve, this is what we deserve. But we have to realize that there's a walk that we have to take to get to that place where it actually makes sense for that man you deserve to be your reality, that woman you deserve to be your reality. And there was this reel that I came across the other day, and it was basically like this woman, and she was saying how, it was like, I think it was a talk show setup, I don't know, but there were people in the crowd like asking questions. And then someone asked the question and it sparked the conversation of high quality men. And then one of the ladies who was hosting the conversation were like, a lot of women do this thing where they say, my man needs to be rich, my man needs to do this, my man needs to do this, my man, my man. You add so many things to that list. And then but you don't realize that if that man came into your life and saw the way you behaved, saw the way that maybe you need to work on your emotional maturity, saw the way that you need to work on your communication, and you're kind of like in denial of the things that you do wrong and in denial of the things that you need to be doing to get better, and you're just not very like self-aware and you're not very truthful with yourself, that same man that you claim you deserve will walk you outside of his door and will realize that that's just not what he wants in his life. Do you deserve the man that you say you deserve? I know that sounds crazy, but that is the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. And I think I like to view it as like two different worlds, right? I want you to look at your environment and I want you to analyze if that environment is the type of place where you would meet that man or that woman. Do you see your future person, your perfect person, doing the things that you do, living the life that you do, tolerating the things that you do that you say, don't work for you and you don't understand why people act this way towards you? Would they be in that environment? Most likely not. If they're this perfect person that you, quote unquote, perfect person that you say they are and have all these, characteristics that you would appreciate, would they be in that environment? The answer is most likely no, they wouldn't be in that environment. So why are you entertaining this environment that doesn't serve you and is literally robbing you of the person that you're supposed to be? If we take away this conversation of men, women, partners, whatever it is, who do you want to be? And does your environment reflect who you want to be? Do your friends reflect who you want to be? Show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Do your friends reflect the person that you're trying to be, the better version of you that you're trying to be? Does your environment reflect that? If it doesn't, then you have to realize that there's a choice that you're making to remain in this environment and to not make the hard sacrifices that are needed to get to this other place that you feel that you deserve. And again, we're not talking about relationships, we're talking about like what you want for your career, for your school life, for your social life, for your all these different aspects of your life. Like what you want for yourself, what you truly want for yourself, you're gonna have to sacrifice. There are two different islands, right? There's island B and there's island A. Island A is the world where, you are able to actually live for what you want in your life. And you're actually able to be true to who you are and be true to the values that you hold and be true to what you need to be doing in order to make yourself proud. And then there's island B, where it's just very comfortable. We're chilling over here. We're just doing the things that we've always been doing. We go out all the time. We don't do anything really of essence. Like we're just kind of like confused. And I'm not painting this island being this, like, exciting life of going out as bad. I'm just saying, if you're the type of person to look at this and have a problem with it, then that means that that life is not productive to you. And the thing is with these two islands is that there's no bridge. There is no boat, you have to swim. And in order to swim, it means you have to leave your baggage over there. You have to sacrifice certain things that are not going to serve you and certain things that you just can't swim with, because it's literally going to cause you to drown. And you're never going to get to that other side, and you're never going to get to that other island where this perfect, quote unquote, I say perfect, but obviously nothing's ever perfect, but this better life for you is. So once again, when it comes to this perfect man, when it comes to this perfect woman, when it comes to this perfect partner that you want to have, that carries all of these values that you want, and you keep saying, and all your friends keep saying, oh, you deserve this person, you deserve that person, and you keep telling your friends you deserve that person. Are you embodying what you think that person would be attracted to? Because most of the time the answer is no. So now you need to start taking the steps to get to that person that you want to be first, aside from the partner. Get to that person that you want to be first. And then at some point you realize that you stop attracting all these people that literally are wasting your time, and you'll start attracting the people that actually are worth your time. Because now your world and your environment has swapped, and it's become filled with people who actually add value to you, and it's become filled with people who are good to you. And like, it's not even about adding value and being so stuck up and whatever it is. Like, people who are good hearted, people who are good to you, people who, listen to you, take care of you, and then like, partners who value certain aspects of a relationship, and, being communicative and understanding, and, having those hard conversations and just being mature in general. Yeah, you'll start to find that you're actually just in a position where your environment makes it impossible for you to meet those people who are just wasting your time. You know how people always say, you need to love yourself before you can love someone else. I think a lot of the times, because the reality is that we're always going to have battles with ourselves. And I think we also need to realize that loving ourselves doesn't mean that we've reached a place where there's just, a lot of calm and a lot of peace within ourselves. I think we're always going to have those internal battles. But I think for me, at least, when I hear that phrase, what it means is that I need to be able to respect myself, respect my wants, respect my wishes, respect what I want for my life and what I want my life to look at, and what I tolerate and what I do not tolerate, enough for me to actually be in a place where when I do choose the person that I want to be with, or when I do meet the person that I want to be with, I'm able to be very clear and look at it properly and look at it as, okay, is this someone that respects my time, respects my wishes, respects how I want to be loved? And in turn, do you respect them? Do you believe in who they are and what they do? And do you believe that they're a good person? Like, having that mutual understanding of who they are as a person, I think that's what it means to love yourself before you love someone else. Because if you genuinely have that self-love for yourself, where you're able to be truthful with yourself and be and have respect for yourself, you will be able to actually enter a relationship that's healthy, because both of you are individuals who understand themselves and are in a better position to understand each other and be mature with each other and actually love each other the right way and treat each other the right way. Being authentically yourself and being authentically true to who you want to be it's something that's very difficult, because no one wants to chase people out of their lives. I think we have a fear that, if we're our true selves, and sometimes we're like maintaining this persona, or maintaining this, like, oh, I have to be funny, or I have to be this, like, entertaining, I have to be whatever it is for the people that are around us. And we don't realize that by suppressing, like, who we want to be, or like the things that we're interested in, we're just gonna keep, like, attracting the same kind of people and like attracting the same kind of situations. But what we don't realize is that, like, by being authentically you and being unapologetically you and just not being afraid to be disliked, actually gets you closer to the people who will add more value to your life and you to theirs. So sometimes I just think we just need to stop trying to be liked, because there is nothing that comes of that. There is nothing that comes of you sacrificing your true self to be liked, because it's literally just gonna say, I'm gonna keep saying this, like you're just recycling the same kind of life that you complain about, and you fail to realize that you're the one who's keeping this recycling system going, because you're either trying to be liked or you're trying to just be someone you're not, and you're failing to understand that the reason that you're in a situation with people that you just don't understand, or people that keep hurting you or whatever it is because you keep tolerating it. You keep tolerating it and you keep trying to maintain this life that isn't even yours. When it comes to situations where you're just like, when it comes to those situations where people keep doing you dirty, ask yourself, what is it that makes these people think it's okay to treat me like that? What kind of vibe, what kind of narrative, what kind of persona am I giving off that makes it seem like it's okay for these people to treat me this type of way? Because a lot of the times there is something that we're doing. There is something that we're doing and we are not embodying that better version of us. And if I go back to the whole thing of deserving someone, of that person you deserve, you're literally embodying the people that you go home and complain about, versus embodying the person that you deserve to be and that would attract the person that you say you deserve. So in the midst of complaining about everything, just take a second and actually ask yourself, what is the role that I play in my suffering right now? Why is it that I keep landing myself with these mediocre men or with these mediocre partners? And how can I actually get out of it? And the truth is that you're probably going to have to sacrifice something. You might have to sacrifice the type of people you're around, the type of environment you're around, the type of life you're living. That's just the truth, because you really cannot carry all of that stuff in that river. Like, you cannot swim across the lake, whatever body of water I said, and get to that other island, because all of those things that you're going to try to carry with you will sink you and you'll never get to that place that you want to be in. So, moral of the story is, be honest with yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Sometimes be open to the narrative that maybe you actually are the problem, and maybe you are the reason why you continue to suffer and you continue to be in these situations that you quote unquote not deserve, when actually you're the one who is basically embodying a person that deserves those mediocre situations. So yeah, I think everything kind of like comes down to who you want to be in life and what you're willing to do to honor who you want to be in life. You know what I mean? So yeah, basically that's it. But anyway, thank you so very much for watching or listening if you're on audio. And yeah, I'll see you next week.